Tom, can I talk to you about something that's been bothering me for a while? It's not dramatic, just something that's been circling in my head. I keep asking myself, why do men even want kids? And the strange part is that whenever I think about it, I realize I've never heard a truly good, well-explained reason from a man. Not one that goes beyond vague phrases like legacy or it's what people do. I've been trying to stay open-minded because I know my perspective is biased, but I genuinely want to understand how men think about this.
That's definitely a big topic, Anna. Bigger than most people treat it. And I appreciate that you actually want to explore it instead of just shutting the door on the subject. But I can hear something underneath your question. Like, you're not just asking out of curiosity. There's something personal there, isn't there?
Of course there is. I don't want kids. At all. And my reason isn't abstract. It's genetic. My family has a long, painful history of medical issues, and when I imagine bringing a child into the world only for them to inherit the same problems, it hurts. I don't want to watch someone I love suffer the way some of my relatives did. So I tell myself I'm being responsible, maybe even kind. But then I start wondering, am I being selfish? And that question keeps pulling at me because every young guy I've been interested in lately seems to want kids so badly, as if it's this unquestionable life goal.
I wouldn't call that selfish at all. If anything, it sounds like empathy, planning, and self-awareness. You're thinking ahead rather than following pressure or expectation. And it's true, some men do want kids strongly, but they don't always know why. You're right to question it. And given the state of the world, the economy, the stress, the instability, your hesitation is completely understandable.
Right? Because from my perspective, the world doesn't seem like a place I'd personally want to bring a child into. Everything's expensive, stressful, unstable, unpredictable. But I want to understand the other side because I know I'm biased. I really want to hear the real reasons from someone who actually knows what he's talking about.
Then let me talk honestly. For me, becoming a dad was one of the most meaningful experiences of my life. And I don't say that lightly. I mean, the kind of meaning that hits you unexpectedly and keeps reshaping you year after year. Watching my kids grow up, discovering the world, forming their personalities, it made me see life differently, with more patience, more appreciation. I even cut back on work for a while because I didn't want to miss the small everyday moments. Now, the house is quiet. They're grown. And I feel this strange mix of pride and nostalgia, but I don't regret a second of it. Still, that's my life, not a universal rule. I don't think anyone should feel obligated to have kids.
And you feel like having kids actually changed how you understood love?
Absolutely. Before kids, I thought I understood love. I thought it was about romance, passion, loyalty. But when my sons were born, it felt like discovering a whole new wing of the emotional universe. It's overwhelming, protective, raw. It's the kind of love that makes you want to be better every day. And I've heard fathers of daughters say that the father-daughter bond is something uniquely gentle and powerful too. Kids bring this strange, indescribable richness into your life.
I guess that's what people mean when they say kids add meaning, but not everyone feels that.
And that's okay. Some people genuinely don't want kids, and that's just as valid as wanting them. Others want kids because they grew up in warm, loving family units and want to recreate that with a partner. I know people like that. They don't want kids for the sake of kids, but because they want a family experience, a shared journey. And there's something to that. Humans are wired for connection. Kids can be an expression of that for some people.
I read something similar once. Someone said they didn't really want kids, but wanted to build a family with someone, to experience life together, the hard parts and the soft parts, to grow with someone. And they talked about near-death experiences, how people often come back saying that love and compassion are the real purpose of living.
That actually resonates with me. Kids fill your life with love, and they also force you to give love, even when you're tired or scared or unsure. It makes you grow.
But I still think society treats men and women differently in this. Women get way more pressure and way more blame. Historically, if a couple couldn't have kids, everyone blamed the woman, even though half the time it was the man's biology.
That's true. Women carry the physical burden of pregnancy, birth, postpartum recovery, breastfeeding, and then society expects them to shoulder the majority of childcare too. And women get shamed for everything. A mom who leaves is a monster, but a dad who leaves is just a guy who pays child support. Not fair, but reality.
Exactly. And I saw stories from older women saying that men in their generation claimed to want kids, but weren't ready or willing to actually parent. One woman said that her father didn't want any of them, and she decided she wouldn't have kids alone. And now she's old, her husband is gone, and she doesn't even have an emergency contact.
That's heartbreaking. And it shows that having kids doesn't guarantee companionship later.
And then there's the girl who doesn't talk to her dad and thinks many men want kids, but don't really want to parent. She dated a guy who was obsessed with having kids, left her for someone who wanted them to, married her in 8 months, and 4 years later they still don't have kids.
Yeah, sometimes people want the idea of children more than the reality.
And then others pointed out that men are the wrong people to ask because women carry 90% of the responsibility anyway. Pregnancy, recovery, child rearing, judgment, everything.
Sadly, that's true more often than not.
And then others say they wanted kids until they saw how horrible the world can be. They just couldn't bring a child into all of this.
That's a valid perspective too.
And of course, adoption exists.
Yes, and it's an option that gets overlooked way too often.
So tell me again, why do men want kids?
Because some want love, some want purpose, some want a family, some follow instinct, some want to give what they never had, some want to heal something inside themselves, and some just don't know. They only know they feel the desire. Human beings are complex.
That's the most honest answer I've heard so far. You know, Tom, the more we talk, the more I realize how many different layers this question has. At first, I thought it was just a simple why, as in what motivates men to want kids. But now it feels like this huge tangle of culture, biology, expectations, fears, dreams, childhood memories, all woven together. And maybe that's why I've struggled to understand it, because I kept expecting one clean, logical answer, something that would let me look at a man who wants kids and say, "Oh, I get it now." But instead, it's this complicated emotional landscape.
That's exactly it, Anna. People pretend it's a simple topic, but it's actually one of the most personal and emotionally loaded decisions in a person's life. And you're right. Some men don't have a thoughtful reason. They just want kids because society told them it's what adults do. Others want kids because they're lonely, or because they crave meaning, or because they imagine the idealized version of parenthood without understanding the real work behind it. And sure, some men want kids but don't understand what actual parenting requires. That happens more than most want to admit.
I think that last part is what scares me the most, because I've known men who talked like they wanted kids with this big romantic idea in their heads, like having children is some magical movie scene where everyone smiles and laughs and everything is beautiful. But when I ask them questions like, are you ready to actually raise a kid, change your lifestyle, be present, share responsibilities? They just brushed it off. It was clear they didn't want parenthood. They wanted the idea of fatherhood. And those two things are not the same.
Absolutely. I've seen that too. Some guys imagine kids like this little accessory to complete the picture of their life. Job, house, wife, kids. Like it's just another checkbox on the adult checklist. But being a real parent means tired eyes, messy rooms, sleepless nights, sacrifices you never expected. And joy, yes, but joy that comes with responsibility. Men who don't understand that can end up hurting their partners and their children without meaning to. That's why wanting kids isn't enough. You have to want the work, too.
Exactly. And that's part of what makes me uncomfortable, because I don't want to carry the burden of someone else's dream, especially when the physical and emotional cost is so much heavier for women. I mean, pregnancy alone is a huge deal. Months of discomfort, risk, fear, pain. Then postpartum, which can break you if you don't have support. And then years and years of work, judgment, pressure. Women get blamed for everything, whether the kid is crying, struggling in school, acting out. Society always points to the mother first.
You're completely right, Anna. Men and women are conditioned very differently on this issue. Women get pushed into motherhood their whole lives. When are you having kids? Time is ticking. You'll regret it later. Meanwhile, men get praised for just helping. People treat fathers like heroes for doing the bare minimum. But women get judged even when they do everything perfectly. I know women who were devastated by postpartum depression, and instead of getting compassion, they got judged. And that weight makes the question of wanting kids so much more complicated for women than men.
And that's another thing. There are people, especially older women, who look back and say they regret not having kids. But there are also people who say they regret having them. One older lady shared her story. She never wanted kids, but in her generation, men pushed for them. Her father didn't want any of them, her husband wasn't ready, and she refused to have a child alone. And now she's elderly, her husband is gone, and she has no one left. She said she doesn't even have an emergency contact. Can you imagine that feeling? Spending your whole life feeling sure you didn't want kids, only to reach old age and feel completely alone?
That kind of story breaks something inside you. But even then, her regret isn't a guarantee that everyone will feel the same. Regret works in strange ways. Some regret not having kids, others regret having them. Some people with kids still end up alone anyway. Nothing is guaranteed. No path protects you from loneliness. The only thing you can do is choose the life that feels honest for you.
I'm trying to figure that out. What's honest for me, not what society wants for me or what a future partner might want. And honestly, I don't feel that biological drive people talk about. I don't look at a baby and think, I need one. I don't imagine myself as a mother. And when I try, it feels forced, like playing a role in a movie that isn't mine.
Then that's your answer. Because people who want kids deeply, they feel it. It's not logical. It's this instinctive pull. They imagine themselves raising someone, teaching someone, guiding someone. They want to create a family. They feel that longing. But if you don't feel it, forcing yourself into motherhood would be cruel to you and to the child.
But then part of me worries. What if one day I meet someone wonderful and he wants kids? What if we're everything to each other except for that? What if he leaves because I don't want children? I hate the idea of losing someone I love over something I don't even fully understand emotionally.
That's a real fear. And I won't lie. Sometimes that does happen. People separate because they want different futures. But that isn't a failure. It's honesty. If a man truly wants kids and you truly don't, then breaking up isn't a tragedy, it's preventing a tragedy. Someone who wants to be a father shouldn't have to give up that dream, and someone who doesn't want to be a mother shouldn't be pressured into it. Compatibility isn't just chemistry, it's shared life direction.
And what about adoption? I saw someone say that adoption is a perfectly valid option and that only the parents and the doctor need to know. Like it's no one's business. That perspective surprised me because people speak about adoption like it's complicated or strange or second best.
Adoption is one of the most beautiful things people can do. Giving a child a home? What could matter more? But again, it only works if both partners genuinely want a child. Adoption isn't a compromise solution. It's still parenthood, with all the responsibilities and emotional investment that come with it. It solves genetics, but not the deeper question, do you want to be a parent?
I guess that's what it all comes down to.
Exactly. The question isn't, are you selfish? Or why do men want kids? The question is, what kind of life do you want, Anna? Not in theory, not in fear, but honestly.
I think I'm starting to understand that my answer doesn't have to match anyone else's. And maybe that's enough.
It is. And whatever you choose, you're allowed to choose it without guilt.